And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live Q&A/Hangout here on this Wednesday. It's already January 15th, which means we are just about halfway through the month already. Not quite sure how that's possible because historically the month of January, to me at least, is the slowest month of the year. And it's kind of like we warm up to the year with January. And then February picks up the pace a little. March is like a long one. And then by the time we get to April, it's like full steam ahead, and somehow it's already the end of the year. Well, this year, I feel like it's the reverse of that. We've somehow opened at 100 miles an hour with just life, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. But they say the older you get, the faster time moves, and I'm kind of realizing that every year. So it is what it is, as they say. I've got a Dr. Pepper Zero here, but guess what I also have? A water. So we got double. We got a DP Zero break or a water break. Fire off your preference in the chat. I'm going to open this up for a little caffeine boost. Let's see it. Just ate some dinner. Good stuff. And now we're going to hang out and answer questions. So for those who are new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. How these work essentially is I'm going to chill here for however long, an hour to an hour and a half. Hang out, answer as many questions as I possibly can. So go ahead and start firing those off in the chat now. We can talk movies, TV shows, movie news, casting news, trailers, sports, food, whatever it is, fire it off in the chat. And a lot of, I'm sure we'll talk about Daredevil. I'm sure we'll talk about, maybe some Star Wars stuff. But I'm excited. We got a lot of topics that are going to come up. I feel it's going to be a good stream. So thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button right now. There's 56 people in here. Hit that like button. It helps out tremendously. And it's free to do so. And then if you want to guarantee that I get to your question, comment, or concern, because there's no way I'm going to get to every single one of these, unfortunately, Super Chat is the way to go. Pops up for me. It's also a way to help support the channel financially. Again, it's not at all expected, but it is, it's a great way to go the extra mile and help support the channel. But that is kind of my opening spiel. One more sip of Dr. Pepper Zero, and let's get into this thing. Refreshing stuff. Dawson, what's up? Connor, how you doing? Amadeus, what's up? William, how you doing? Let's see. I heard Bob Odenkirk and Bob Odenkirk and Kieran Culkin have a Broadway play coming out. I saw that, and I want to say Bill Burr was recently cast in it as well. It's Glenn Ross, a film I need to watch. It's on my watch list, but I have not seen it. That fascinates me greatly. As someone who is currently watching Succession, which I've talked about in a couple of recent streams and videos, Kieran Culkin clearly in that show. I'd be interested in checking that out. Obviously, don't think I'll get the chance to go up there and do it in person, but that's life. Isaiah's everything with a super chat. Thank you so much. Hey man, enjoyed your collection video. Yes, that collection video was at 2 hours and 17 minutes, feature length. A lot of fun with it. I mean, it wouldn't have been possible without Cam bringing the Blu-rays in, like in stack. She was like my assistant, so that was clutch. But still, the power went out on me in the middle of that. Knocking on wood, that doesn't happen on the stream because it happened before. Let's just act like I didn't say that. But yeah, it was a real fun one. I always enjoy those Blu-ray collection videos, and this time I did it differently. Historically, I've done it where I show my POV, right, and I pull every movie off the shelf. Well, this time I actually got them all out, held them up, and talked about them one at a time, which is the preferred method for me. It felt more personable. It was a real fun collection. And then disappointed, however, not to see masterpieces of Madame Web Morbius. Yeah. Oh, man. And then I got to get Craven when that comes out, too, to complete the trifecta, right? No, those will never grace my collection. Those are cancers to a Blu-ray shelf. Let's see. Looking through the chat here. When do I think they'll announce the release date for season 5? I would hope sooner rather than later. But Netflix, again, as of late, they wait not last minute, but a couple months out to release some of these release dates. I remember with Outer Banks, it was a couple months. Squid Game hasn't officially said June, but some things have sort of leaked that may indicate that. So I would say hopefully by like the month of May, we should have our first footage and a release date. But I don't know at this point. It's becoming a lot harder to predict when we're actually going to get anything. Joey says, have you seen Tulsa King? And I have not. I have been heard about all this show from various people. My parents both really like Tulsa King. It's one of those shows that like all the dads have seen. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a dad show, like Reacher. I just haven't seen Tulsa King. So no, I have no comment because I have not seen it. But I know it's Stallone. Movie Fan 2002, what's up? How you doing? Benjamin in the chat says, do you think the Captain America Brave New World runtime is because of the reshoots, or was it not meant to be over 2 hours? So I have no clue what to make of this because there have been conflicting reports about this movie. At one point in time, I saw this movie was going to be like 2.5 hours. At one point, 2 hours 15. I went to IMDb the other day, which you kind of have to not trust sometimes. Unfortunately, IMDb can have just false information. So can Google. Like if you Google a runtime of a movie, it's probably wrong 9 out of 10 times. Dr. Pepper Zero. And so, I think they initially were going to make this movie a lot longer, but they probably cut some stuff out. I have no clue what to expect. I've seen tweets being like, oh, this is going to be the theatrical cut of Justice League. I don't know about that. That was a disaster. So I don't think it's going to be butchered that bad. I still have some hopes for the movie, but being under 2 hours just by a hair does seem studio mandated, in my opinion. Hour 58, it's a bit, it's not, I'm not complaining. I'm fine for a movie being 2 hours. That's plenty of time. But, I did think this would be in that 2 hours 15 range initially. Starcourt's in the chat. Shout out him. Let's see. Jello Plays TV in the house. Glad to see you here, man. Welcome, welcome. Main Gamer says, hey, Chris, curious what you thought about that Daredevil Born Again trailer. I absolutely loved it. Definitely need to give the series a rewatch. Yeah, I dug the trailer. It's been on my mind all day. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I actually did something really cool today, and I'll wait to share it till later in the stream. But yeah, it was this morning, 10 a.m. Eastern for me. Watched the trailer, and I was like, I had chills, honestly. The trailer ruled, and I've seen a lot of praise for it. I've seen some critiques of it online, but for the most part, the consensus is this seems to be a win. We're headed towards a win for the MCU on Disney+. And in my opinion, this trailer gave me everything I wanted. As a fan of the show, as a fan of the Punisher show, gave me everything I wanted. Tonally, that was my biggest concern. Were they going to capture the tone of the original show? They did that. The brutality is there, the violence is there, the mature sort of nature of the show seems to be there, just based on one conversation between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock. Like that one conversation between them already seemed better written than a lot of recent projects on Disney Plus for the MCU. So I have confidence. I really do. The action was there. I mean, Punisher's back. Carrot and Foggy are back. Bullseye, who they set up at the end of season 3, looks like he's back. And then it looks as though Kingpin and Daredevil are going to have to be on the same team. They're going to have to work together to defeat a greater threat. So sign me the hell up. Sign me the hell up. I also really got Dark Knight Rises vibes from it. Don't know if anyone else agrees or not. But, excuse me, there was a line where Wilson Fisk says something along the lines of, like, you're not the vigilante anymore. Or it's been like a few years, that implying that Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil because something happened to him. Well, I'm thinking, what if this is like the Dark Knight Rises, where Bruce Wayne takes a couple of years off and he's got to find his way back to being Batman? I hope we get like a rise scene, when Bruce Wayne has to climb out of that pit. Like, I would love if Murdock's just in hell and he has to rise and be Daredevil again. I would get chills thinking about that. Josh with a super chat. Thank you, Josh. Josh, I cannot speak tonight. Dr. Pepper Zero might help. Josh says, hi, Chris. Keep watch burn. All right. We're doing this with Stranger Things Ep. It looks like we got Dear Billy, the Battle of Starcourt, and the Piggyback. Also, where does the first I Love You rank in the Stranger Things track? So we got a Stranger Things question here. I would say keep watch burn. I think I answered one like this recently. And I do this based solely off rewatchability. So that's how I'm going to approach it. I would say the most rewatchable of those 3 eps to me might just be Dear Billy. So I think I will keep Dear Billy in this moment in time, despite what I might have said in a recent stream. I would probably watch. I don't know. You know what? I have to rethink this based on the approach I'm taking. The approach I'm taking is with rewatchability, but what if I have to factor in importance in the overall show? The Piggyback has to be watched. That means I have to burn one of the other 2. So I would say this is blasphemous, but I'm saying keep Battle Starcourt, watch Piggyback, burn Dear Billy, which feels wrong even saying out loud. I'm keeping them all. That's my answer. Brutal question right there. I always get stumped by a couple of those per stream. Let's see. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Abby's in the chat. What's up, Abby? Good to see you here. Hope all's well with you. What do I think the future of Moon Knight is in the MCU? He's my favorite character. And you might not like what I have to say, unfortunately. I said back in 2022, there's a video of me saying it somewhere, that Moon Knight might not ever see the light of day in the MCU again. And it's becoming more and more a possibility that's the case every single day. The show came out about 3 years ago now. I think it was March 2022. No projects have been greenlit with him in it. He as a character is kind of taken a back seat. And then you look at who plays Moon Knight. It's Oscar Isaac. That's a big name. That's not just someone they can like call and be like, yeah, come do this show, this new season, or this, one appearance in this movie. I feel like he's above that in a way to me. And so I would say I wouldn't feel good about Moon Knight coming back. I feel like Moon Knight is going to end up being like Eternals, where it exists in the MCU, but it's not really acknowledged. Like, I don't think they're ever going to bring the Eternals back. I don't think they're going to bring Moon Knight back. And Indy, my cat, it's time for his cameo of the stream. Hey, buddy. You want to say hi to the people? Say hi.
He almost said hi.
He did. He let out a little whimper. All right. Thank you for coming in here, buddy. He's a good boy. He's a good lad. But no, I don't think we're going to see, there's a cat here. I don't think we're going to see Moon Knight again in the MCU, which is a hot take. Do you think we see Moon Knight again in the MCU?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's just, same with She-Hulk, same with the Eternals. Like, these are characters who, they had a project and, that was that. Bye, Indy. And that was that. That's kind of how I feel. So I do think there are some characters on MCU Disney Plus shows who will return. I mean, Sam and Bucky, for example, will have been in 2 or 3 things by the end of next year. That alone kind of takes care of that. But, Miss Marvel returned, but She-Hulk, no. I don't think what's her name? The Daenerys Targaryen, what's her name in real life? Emily? It's in that ballpark. I don't know why I'm blanking. This is bad. Emma? What's her name? This is bothering the crap out of me. Why am I blanking on it? Emilia Clarke. She turns into this all-powerful being in Secret Invasion with the powers of Thanos and everyone. It was bizarre. She's not going to show up again. So the MCU is starting to lose a bit of continuity, in my opinion, because it's becoming too big. It's expanded to a level it never dreamed of reaching when it originally started. So that's my answer on Moon Knight. Kind of long-winded for you there. Let's do a little speed round here in the chat. Chris, when do you think Stranger Things 5 official trailer release? I would say maybe the Super Bowl, but that could be optimistic. I'm probably going to gaslight myself into thinking, oh, it's Super Bowl for sure. And then it's just not going to drop on the Super Bowl. Who do you think will have a bigger role in Born Again, Foggy or Karen? Felt like in the OG show that Karen usually had the bigger role in the narrative. I agree. Karen was I would agree with that. Even was it season 3 where we have a Karen backstory ep? I like that ep, by the way. People would necessarily don't care for that. I dug that episode. Dr. Pepper Zero Break. Quite refreshing tonight. I would say I think in this series, Karen, because Burnfall's back, and you have to factor in the Karen-Frank relationship and their history with each other. So I don't know if Foggy is, I don't know if he's going to take a back seat necessarily, but I do think this show's not going to rely on the trio as much, which is something that the first 3 seasons of the show really did. That was the core of the show. And to me, I don't see that trio being as prominent. Maybe I'm off base there, but I think it's going to be more, honestly, Daredevil and Kingpin centric. And then Frank's going to come in at some point and be the right-hand man. But I hope to God it sets up a Punisher, because that would get me on my feet. If they do a Punisher, I don't know what they would call it, but not Punisher season 3, but the Punisher, and then just insert cool name here. That would be that would get me going. All right. That would get the juices flowing. Hey Chris, hope you're doing well. What are some predictions for Spider-Man 4? My prediction for Spider-Man 4 is that I'll give you a couple random ones. My number 1, Daredevil will appear in the film. I think Matt Murdock will have a fairly not significant role, but a role. I think Kingpin will appear in the film as well, because if it is going to be in New York City, you got to think Wilson Fisk. They're setting him up to have a much bigger role in the street level side of the MCU. And then, you know what? This one's out of left field. It's wishful thinking. I've said it many times. I'm going to, again, lie to myself, convince myself wrongly that Michael Mando's Scorpion will be one of the villains. He was set up in the Homecoming post-credit scene when he had that interaction with Keaton's Vulture. And Michael Mando, obviously Nacho from Better Call Saul, phenomenal actor. And I just don't know why they set that up and never brought it back. Things like that irk me. It keeps me up at night. The continuity issues with the MCU, some of them, when they'll have a nothing post-credit scene, I call it, just sets up absolutely nothing. It really haunts me because they were so on it in the first 3 phases. For the most part, I know that Homecoming was a phase 3 movie technically, but for the most part, everything they were dropping like connected or bled directly into the next thing. And it was so well done and well thought out. That one is one that got away, and I would love to see them return to that. What time is it where I live? It is 6:48 p.m. Do I think Stranger Things 5 released in the summer or fall? Likely fall, just because, I mean, massive amounts of editing they're going to have to do. New Daredevil is sick. I agree. Do you think the season 5 Stranger Things trailer will drop on the Super Bowl? So again, I touched on this a bit earlier. I mean, it's a safe bet. We know we're going to get probably Fantastic Four. Netflix, here's what I could see. I could see Netflix doing a thing where they like buy a minute and it's like a sizzle reel. So we get our first footage, but it's not like fully devoted to Stranger Things. It could include footage from Wednesday, Squid Game, and Stranger Things. And honestly, I think that's what they will do. So I bet we'll get a sizzle reel that will give us the first footage of Stranger Things that day. And then maybe like more online. It'll be like full thing online. And we'll have like a devoted 30-second clip of just Stranger Things footage. But I don't think we're getting like a full trailer then. Probably not. Dude, Prisoners is so good. Scene with Jackman and Gyllenhaal in the car at cinema. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad you dug it, man. Rules. Movie rules. It's very dark. It's not rewatchable because of the subject material to me, but it's a 5 out of 5 movie for me. Dr. Pepper Zero Break. By the way, 82 people in here. Thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button. Helps out quite a bit. Go ahead and hit it. Boom. Right now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom. And Super Chat's the way to go to guarantee I get your question, comment, or concern. It's a huge way to help support the channel, and it's a guarantee I can get right to your question. It'll pop up on screen, boop, just like that. Because I am not going to be able to get to everything in this chat. Any predictions for Max's storyline in Stranger Things 5? I'm going to say, Leo, welcome in, by the way. I'm going to say that it's a prediction that I did not come up with. My girlfriend came up with it a while ago, and I'll ride the coattails of it. I've talked about it before. I give her full credit. I do believe that Max will be used as some sort of vessel for Vecna, where Vecna will come alive through, not almost possess her in a way, right? So he's got full control physically and mentally over Max. That could be a plot line that I could see happening. So that's what I'll go with. Do I think she lives or dies? I kind of lean she lives, but I could be way off base there. Yeah, man, I'm pumped for Daredevil Morgan. Are you seeing Wolfman, or have you seen Wolfman? I am seeing Wolfman tomorrow. That's the plan. I got my tickets already. I'm going with Cam. We're going to go see it. It's going to be the first movie of 2025. And, you know, while I touch on this, I'm going to bring up something really cool I did today that I haven't talked about to anyone in the world except one person. 2 people, maybe, actually. I saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in theaters today. I had no idea until really recently that this was a thing. But Last Crusade, the third Indiana Jones movie, one of my faves, my second fave, had a limited run in theaters at a certain chain. And at this theater in Georgia, I think it's also in like Florida and some other East Coast, maybe even where you guys live, I don't know. They do flashback weeks for movies. So flashback films, something like that. I actually have a screenshot. I'll show you guys the poster right here. It's called Flashback Cinema, Classic Movies on the Big Screen. And they are doing Clue, Interstellar, Princess Bride, Gone with the Wind, Casablanca. Well, Last Crusade was January 11th, 12th, and 15th. So today was the last day to do this. I found out about this the other day. I was like, I got to do whatever it takes to go see this, because a goal of mine is to see all of my favorite movies of all time from the big franchises on the big screen. So my first indie movie was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull back in 2008. And then I saw I saw Raiders leading up to Dial when they released it. Then I saw Dial. And so I hadn't seen Temple of Doom or Crusade. So I went and saw Crusade today. Now I've seen 4 of the 5 Indiana Jones movies on the big screen. The only one I need is Temple of Doom. I don't know when that will release, but I'll get it eventually. So I have added that to the list. There was myself in the theater and one other older gentleman, and that was it. But it was so cool to just, I love indie, you know, my cat, but also the movies. And it's a great film. I forget how fast paced for the better this film is. Last Crusade might be the most rewatchable of the 5 Indiana Jones movies. There's maybe 5 minutes of downtime in the entire movie. It opens with the whole prologue with River Phoenix playing young Indy, and, the carnival train, and it establishes his scar on his face, which Harrison Ford, the actor, has. It establishes why he has a fear of snakes, and it establishes where he got the hat and sort of the mantra of Indiana Jones. Then we move quick, and just like that, in like within 10 minutes, he's already going to Venice, and you've got the whole scene underneath with the tomb. Then we start getting into the stuff with Sean Connery, Henry Jones Sr., and it moves. It's pure adventure, and it's so well directed by Spielberg. I love that movie. I quote it more than most. Every like few minutes, I'd be like getting ready to quote a line. I'd be like, damn, I do realize that I quote this movie way more than I realized. So Last Crusade, saw that in theaters. I haven't logged on Letterboxd yet. I will do that tonight. But what a picture. What a picture. Shoot. Actually, we have a super chat from Movie Fan 2002. Are the LA wildfires making you think a bit of the Final Shot Stranger Things 5? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of eerie to think about. I mean, obviously, it's awful what's happening out there. If anyone in here is affected by that, it's a horrible situation what's going on. So stay safe. I mean, I'd not thought about that, obviously, but that's, an interesting thing. I hadn't thought about that, but the news coverage of it is just scary. It's just awful what's happening out there. So if anyone in here is affected by that, or even if you're not, and you're just out there in the world, which we know there are people, stay safe. And it's a scary thing. Like I've seen videos of celebrities walking through the rubble of their home. It's like, damn, this is horrifying. And it's nuts. And then there was a winter storm on one side of the US, and then the fires happening out. It's just terrible situation. Truly. We got another question here saying, what do you think of Sensei Wolf in Cobra Kai season 6? Let me take a sip of Dr. Pepper Zero. Unstoppable would be one word I would use to describe him. Based on what we've seen through the first 2 parts, he's pretty unstoppable. He's dominating Johnny and Daniel when they're teaming up. Like, he's unstoppable, but I have a theory that I think I shared in one of my reactions. I don't even remember. It's pretty evident to me that the route we're headed could be that if their entire dojo gets sort of disqualified because of his treatment of his students. Like, they wouldn't be setting up this whole plot of I forget his freaking name. Not Alexi. What's his name? You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll look it up. I don't know why I'm Iron Dragon student. Zara's the girl. The dude's name it's not like a basic name, but I just forget it. Where's his name? Come on. All right, let's look this up real quick. Come on. All right, it's not loading. It's not loading. Let me just see in the chat. Someone probably said it. Let me scroll. I don't know his name. I've completely blanked on it, and I did that multiple times. I did it when I was on Cobra Kai Kid stream, but whatever his name is, I think that the Iron Dragons, they're going to get penalized by the higher ups, because I do think they are just an unstoppable force. And so how do you stop that? The law has to intervene. Do I think Joker will be nominated for any Oscars? No shot. No shot, in my opinion. All right, let's see. We'll keep going through the chat here now. I think I found where I was. There we go. Will everyone get hot take videos, like reacting to your hot takes? I don't know. I did them, and I did those, and then how do I want to say this? I don't know if I'll bring them back. I know that I don't think I'm going to do them. I don't think I'm going to do them anymore. I had done a bunch for a bunch of different topics, and then it kind of became like obviously I didn't invent that thing, and I don't care what people do. I mean, everyone in the space makes similar content, but it became like a trendy thing just to do reacting to hot takes. And I noticed people started doing them, so I was just like, I'm not going to do it anymore just because everyone was doing it. So that's kind of why I've already done pretty much all the big fandoms anyway. But at a certain point, I don't know. I kind of grew out of talking about hot takes. That's just how I feel about it. So yeah, I don't know if I'll do those anymore. Was about to watch the podcast, and then I saw the stream. Yes, the podcast is back. We dropped a new episode today. We filmed it differently. We had a 2-camera, multi-camera setup, because usually we're both in the same frame. That can cause some focus issues. And so this time we said, you know what? Let's switch it up. We got multiple cameras. Let's try it. So It's a new format, and you'll have to let us know what you think when you watch it. Let us know if you are in the stream and you go watch that up. Go comment your thoughts, or your thoughts on the new setup. I get asked this every single stream. Never watched From. I've never watched From. Barely even know what it is, to be completely frank. Back-to-back live streams. Yeah, last week, this week, got a Patreon stream Monday. Like I'm starting to get back into the Patreon streams, and I'm going to try and make those weekly as well. And so if you like this and you're in here right now, become a patron and you'll get extra streams, and there's way less people in it. So it's like I get to answer every single question and kind of talk a lot more about specific questions than I'd be able to, because I want to be able to get to as many of these as I can, these questions. And so there's a little more of urgency here. They're a lot more laid back over there. So if you're interested, Patreon's the place to be. Who's your favorite? I don't want to answer that one. Oh, this is a good one from Popcorn. What's your favorite snack in the movies? Got it today. I don't get it all the time, but when I want to treat myself, I get it. I got it today because it was a rare occasion seeing an Indiana Jones movie on the big screen. I go for popcorn. I add a little butter. Sometimes I just don't, but it's already buttered, So I got popcorn, Reese's Pieces, cherry icy, and then you put some of the Reese's Pieces in the popcorn. And I probably look like a dog eating it sometimes. Like I usually in the previews when it's like loud before the movie starts, I'll try and eat as much as I can. Just like I'm that kind of person. I know there are people who like to save the snacks for the movie. I like to eat as much of the snacks as I can before the movie. Again, apologies if there's any Wi-Fi issues. I see I'm getting a little Wi-Fi logo. So classic. Every time I stream, it's got to do something. So hopefully you guys can still hear and see me. But my favorite snack in the movies is what I just said, and that's the trifecta. That's the holy trinity, you could say. Great stuff. That's my jam. Movie fan 2002 with an intriguing one here. Let me scroll. Actually, I'm not going to continue. Real quick, let me know if I'm like laggy bad, or if you guys can hear me, because my Wi-Fi logo's popped up. So I'll wait for some feedback on that, and then I'll answer this question. Let's see. Okay, the Wi-Fi logo just went away, so hopefully everything still looks good. Let's see. Dr. Pepper Zero. We're good? Cool. We're good. All right, we're going to rock with it then. Apologies again. There's always got to be some sort of technical issue on a stream. Chris, which Broadway musical do you want to get a movie adaptation after Wicked for Good? I personally would love a Hamilton adaptation. I feel like all signs are pointing to Hamilton. I made a prediction video recently where I was like, after Wicked for Good is inevitably a success, which I think it will be. The first movie was. This one will do just as good, if not better. I think that the studios will want to capitalize off that. And so I do believe we're going to get an announcement for a movie musical. And the biggest one out there is Hamilton, that hasn't been adapted to a film. Now, we have the original cast recording on Disney Plus, which is like as good as it's going to get. But to adapt Hamilton into a film like Wicked, where you get to go into this world and it's not characters running off stage and doing like costume changes, but actually making it into a film, it would be quite fascinating. It would be a tall task. Would Lin direct? I think he could. He's done Tick, Tick, Boom. So that might be what they do. And I won't be surprised if they greenlight that by the end of the year. But that would be a massive undertaking, right? A huge undertaking. John M. Chu might do it, John M. Chu did the Wicked movies. I think he did, I want to say John M. Chu directed In the Heights. Let's double check that real quick. John M. Chu. Apparently, he's not a real person because IMDb just doesn't want to load. There we go. All right. He did direct In the Heights. I was correct. So he's done Wicked and In the Heights. He's also done Now You See Me 2, Crazy Rich Asians. He directed some of the Step Up films. So he's no stranger to these musical numbers, right? So I would say, yeah, John M. Chu or Lin would probably direct that if they were to make it. By the way, thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button. 85 folks in here. Hit that like button. Helps a lot. Helps a tremendous amount. Thoughts on Thanos from Squid Game? Funny, cringe at times. Funny moments. That's that. That's kind of my thoughts on Thanos. All right, let's see. Thank you, Abby. Yeah, I got this from Adam's Art Box. He just dropped a Back to the Future DeLorean design that I'm going to be getting one day for sure. What a guy. All right, let's see. Hello, welcome. You can watch the Stranger Things 4 finale in the same amount of time as the Blu-ray collection video. Yeah, very true. Very true. Oh, I like this question. It says, first of all, love your content. Well, thank you. I'm sure you've been asked a lot of times, but what do you think? But do you think Stranger Things 5 will have a summer or fall release? Much love from Norway. So yeah, I did answer this earlier in the stream, but what caught my eye is Norway. That's crazy. That let me know where you're watching from. I'm in Georgia in the US, but that's bizarre. Very cool. All the way out in Norway. Yeah, I think it'll have a fall release. I'm leaning that. But if they were to split it into volumes, which I think they are going to do, late summer, like the end of August, early September is still classified as summer, just as more so fall in my mind. So I'm leaning fall. I have never seen A Bronx Tale. What aspect of season 5 are you most excited for? Mine would have to do with the original boys and 11 together, since we've rarely seen their dynamic. Yeah, I would say character groupings, and everyone's sort of back in one spot, because in the past couple seasons, everyone's been so spread out, specifically season 4, literally across the globe. And so it'll be nice to see everyone together. Like, there's the shot of them in the behind the scenes teaser where they're all in the radio station, like all in the same room. And there's like a projector, they're all like planning something. And so at one point in the season, everyone's going to be together, much like in season 2, when they're all in the Buyer house. We could get an iconic shot like that of everyone in the same room. And I hope we do. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Like, probably, yeah, everyone being together for one final season. Dr. Pepper or Coke? Give me Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper's 1, Coke is 2. If we're going just classic soda, I would not even have Pepsi on my list. Like, I don't drink Pepsi. It's just, in Georgia, I don't know anyone who drinks Pepsi. Leo is super chat. Thank you, Leo. I appreciate that. Do you find Netflix's obsession over the number 1? Yeah, it's bizarre. I when I was watching Squid Game, I was like 001. Like, you don't think of it when you watch the first season of. My lips are super chapped, by the way. I just realized. Ugh. They're like hurting. I need to put some chapstick on after this. But anyway, the first time I watched Squid Game, it's prior to season 4 of Stranger Things. So I had not thought of 01, Vecna, none of that stuff. And so, you have it in your head and you just move on. Then Stranger Things comes out. 001 is a number you kind of have burned into your brain, associated with Henry Creel, associated with Vecna. So then you get season 2 of Squid Game, and 001 is a pivotal character. And once you find out who they are, or we as the audience know, but when the rest of the characters find out, it's like this big reveal moment. Even then then they technically, anyway, I'm babbling, but yeah, it's crazy that 2 of the biggest shows on Netflix, 001 is a number associated with like the big bad. Will that happen again in Wednesday? I'm kidding. Like, imagine the new principal or whatever, or some new character is named 1. That would be something. It is fascinating, though. Let's be honest. Now, who's the better character? Come on, Henry Creel. If we're comparing the ones, if I were to rank it, here's my ranking of the ones from Stranger Things show, or here's my ranking of the ones from popular Netflix shows. That'd be a video. All right, Dr. Pepper 0, baby. Oh, I meant to add a weird. Oh, yeah, it is a bit strange. Also, have you tried Dr. Pepper Strawberries and Cream Banger? I have not had that one. I've only had 0, Diet, and regular. I think I've had vanilla a long time ago, and maybe cherry, but I'm not big on adding those flavors to a drink. I just like the straight up stuff. Like, I'm a tea drinker now in the mornings, and I just like Earl Grey tea with nothing in it. And so I like just Dr. Pepper 0 straight up. I used to add some vanilla flavoring to my drink at QT, which is a gas station. They have like flavors you could add. And so I would pour Dr. Pepper, put some vanilla, and then do that. So vanilla Dr. Pepper I've had, but it can become overkill. But I've heard good things about that. I've heard good things about cream. Is there a cream soda as well? Dr. Pepper cream soda, I want to say. Is that a thing? Heard good things, but strawberries and cream, might have to try that. A podcast app would be fun, where we do a Dr. Pepper taste test, because Cam claims she could do them all, where you like put the different ones, like a Dr. Pepper from this restaurant, a Dr. Pepper in a bottle, a Dr. Pepper in a can. And she's like, oh, I could do it. So we'll have to see if that's true or not. Put her to the test. Strawberries and cream might throw her off. But thank you to Super Chats, man. And I appreciate all you guys who have sent to Super Chats. Let's do a speed round. What do you guys think? Speed round, for those who don't know, is I'm going to answer a good chunk of questions with pretty quick answers just so I can catch up in the chat as much as possible. This is a highlighter, by the way. I feel like, what's he holding? Okay. I have answered this already, but I am going to be watching Wolfman. Main Gamer says, forgot to mention that I love your collection video. Watched it all yesterday. You mentioned a 100 film list or something, and I was curious what all the films on that list are. Yeah, so I appreciate it, first of all, but I am intending to watch a good. You know what? I'll write out a chunk of movie, or I'll list out a chunk of movies that I'm actually gonna try and watch this year, because I'm not BSing you guys when I say this. If you watch my live streams, and there's 84 people in here, it means a lot to me. Like I don't stream a lot, I should say. But when I do, like for people who actually watch live, it's like, this is like the community in action, you know? Like it's one thing to see comments on a video and be able to respond to them, but I feel like this is way more conversational. It's live, it's personal in the moment. And so I feel like I honestly feel like for the first time, maybe not ever, but in a long time on the channel, I feel like the streaming, but it's not just the fact that I'm doing it, it's the fact that it's weekly, and I'm starting to see names in here and recognize names more and engage with similar faces, but all fresh faces. I feel like this is a like good community building for the channel. And I remember in 2020, I did weekly streams, and back then there was like maybe 20 people in a stream, maybe, and 10 to 20. And we all kind of got a little thing going. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. So this is special, and I appreciate you guys being here. But anyway, yes. So I have a list. Let's just go through it. I haven't published this anywhere, because if I do that, then I feel it's a burden. So it's a low-key list. It's not even 100 movies, but it's a good chunk of movies. All right. And I'm gonna go through a bunch of them. So I have them categorized. The first category is prep before new movie comes out. So these are usually franchises that I haven't seen, and we'll have a new entry or some sort of reboot coming out this year. And so the first one is Superman, the movie. Haven't seen it. Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, Superman Returns. Then I say Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and Prey. Then I got 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, The Black Phone, The Accountant, Freaky Friday. I haven't fully seen, but I've basically seen it. But I put it here just because I'm weird like that. The Running Man, the original. Zootopia, the original. I have a couple PTA films on here. Phantom Thread and Inherent Vice are the only two I haven't seen. I have the whole Conjuring universe that I haven't seen. So the Annabelle movies and the Nun movies. Why? I don't know. I'm not going to watch those. But I was like, put them here. I have Tron from 1982. I also am going to rewatch Tron Legacy. For spooky season, I have the Fear Street trilogy, which has been on my watch list for like 3 years now. And I'm always like, I'm going to do a video about it. And so I just psych myself out. I need to do that this year. Someone needs to hold me to that. I've got Fright Night, Misery, Poltergeist, the original. Haven't seen, I know. The Village and Signs, 2 Shyamalan flicks. I've got Doctor Sleep, which I've never watched. I won't list all the movies, but these are just a good chunk. Comedies, I've got Ted 2, which I'm watching soon. Shout out Starcourt. Due Date, Office Space, the Clerks movies. Spielberg, I'll give you some of the biggest Spielberg movies I haven't seen. Close Encounters, Bridge of Spies, Minority Report. I don't want to list everything. I haven't seen the Cornetto trilogy, so Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim. I have RRR on this list. So there's a bunch of random stuff on here. I'll get through some of it. I won't get through some of it, but that's life, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do for movies. I'm on TV kick right now. Favorite show I'm watching currently is one show. I'm watching Succession. I'm on season 3, ep 4. So I'm making I started it pretty much the second or third day of the year, and I'm nearing the end. I'm nearing the final season already. So I'm zooming through it. All right, favorite steelbook. Oh man, I just did the collection, and I think it might be that La La Land steelbook. It's a beaut. All right. Hey Chris, hope you're doing well. Have you watched any of the shows you needed to watch? Penguin is one of them. Yeah, haven't watched Penguin yet. I watched Fall. So the shows I've watched recently, where I finally finished Sunny. I finally caught up on Fallout. I watched Agatha, and then I am working through Succession. The Penguin's something I could easily do in 2 days, 2 nights. But I'm on Succession right now, and when I start a show and I'm in it, like I don't want to watch other shows to conflict. I feel like it's the same as reading multiple books at once. It just doesn't work for me. It's a weird vibe. It's a weird thing. I feel like I'm cheating on shows. I personally can't wait for Bernthal's return specifically. You and me both, man. I'm loving Succession. Safe to say I'm loving it. And I honestly, I kind of know where we're headed. Like I know one major spoiler about the show, but other than that, like it's on course to become a top 10 to top 5 best show I've ever seen. I said this, and I think it was Patreon, and I'll voice that here. I don't know if I've said it here on the air live, but it's going to be said by me right now. The first 3 seasons of Succession, or the first 2 seasons of Succession, are more watchable than the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad. I'm taking a beat for everyone to soak that in. That's how I feel. And I love Breaking Bad. Trust me, it is a top 5 show, I would say. Like someone said, what are the 5 best shows you've seen? That's up there. But this show flies. I'm fully invested in this world. I'm entranced, one could say. Carson says favorite movie not in the English language. I like that. Is that Reservoir Dogs, the profile pic there? I dig it. I'm gonna go with that's tough. I'll say I would probably say, why not? I'll shout out Seven Samurai as if I need to shout it out. I'm gonna mute for a second to take a sip of Dr. Pepper while this train comes over the hill. So 1 second. All right, the worst of it's gone. What was the most bone-chilling part of the trailer? For reference, we're talking about the Daredevil Born Again trailer. I'm going to say the most bone-chilling part of that trailer, I'm going to talk over the noises outside, just to act like it's Superman out there fighting Zod and destroying buildings in 2013's Man of Steel. I'm going to say the most bone-chilling part of this trailer for me was... honestly, the shot of the Daredevil, like the cowl falling, gave me chills. But it's near the end when he like screams. Like that moment, I was like, "Whoo, whoo!" I knew we were in for something, and I still have high hopes for the show. Like I'm pumped. I'm very pumped, and I'm happy that I think that I had that at 2 on my anticipated list for TV. I think I had 1 Stranger Things, 2 Daredevil, 3 and/or 4 Cobra Kai, 5 Last of Us. I think. And I stand by that. Daredevil season 2, I'm glad that I did that. The trailer has won me over fully, and I was already kind of on board. Favorite Fast and Furious movie? Fast 5, but I don't really care about any of them. Hey, Chris, do you prefer Prisoners or Nightcrawler? Give me Prisoners. Give me Prisoners. And this is the hot take for you, Gavin. I'm talking not only film, I'm talking Gyllenhaal performance. That's the hot take. I love his performance as, I think Detective Loki's his name in Prisoners. When he has he just has those twitches, and there's something about his character that kind of something's off with him. You see him, and then when he flips out in the office, oh my gosh! And then every interaction he has with David Dastmalchian's character is so uneasy. Whew, I'm going that movie and performance. It does feel very Dark Knight Rises. I said that in my trailer reaction, and I'm like, I feel it in my blood, and I'm ready. Let's see. A box office question from Gold Searcher. If Disney and Pixar's Elio has better word of mouth than Elemental, like close to Coco or WALL-E's level, and it benefits from no animated films for families since Dogman, might it make $600 million globally? Anything's possible. A Pixar film in the summer, you have to expect it to do moderately well, but it is hard to read those original films. But I think some of that comes from the COVID era when Turning Red and Soul were dropping straight to Disney Plus, and Luca, it was going straight to a streaming service. And then you had like a Lightyear, which was in 2022, when people honestly didn't realize it was going to theaters. Like people had been trained to think these movies were going straight to Disney Plus. Excuse me. And so it's really difficult to get a read on this one. Word of mouth is going to be important. It's not going to break the box office records opening weekend, but it could pull an Elemental. I could see that film reaching 450, 500, which I think is where Elemental ended up going. But this summer we don't have a ton of animated kids movies, right? I mean, Lilo and Stitch is a live action remake that's got humans, but obviously Stitch is animated or CGI. That's May 23rd. You got Elio, but there's not like an animated DreamWorks movie that's big this summer, I don't think. We got the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon, but animated kids movie, unless I'm blanking, which I could very well be, I don't think there's one in July, even like a big one, because July is Fantastic Four to end the month, Jurassic to start the month, and Superman in about a week and a half after Jurassic. So yeah, I don't know. That you make a good point there with it being like the only real full on like you take your 4 and 5-year-olds to see this and they'll get a kick out of it movie. Elio might be the one. And so yeah, good point. I dig that point. I could see it making 400 to 500, but 600 is a bit of a stretch, I'd say. Squid FN says, will you release a review on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Probably not. Honestly, I don't intend to watch the show, but never say never. If it were to drop all at once, I'd be more inclined to. But I don't know. I found that through trial and error and talking to fellow creators, like certain projects, there's just no like buzz or traction around. People don't care. Like I posted a Skeleton Crew video yesterday, and I honestly don't think anyone cared, and that's okay. I get it. Like the show really underperformed, but I noticed I was like, dang, like no one really wants to watch this, and I get it. Trust me. But I've seen other creators talk about this as well. Like when the Skeleton Crew trailer dropped, people were like, yeah, no one cares. You look at the viewership of Skeleton Crew, it was way down, even compared to the Acolyte, which even then people didn't really care about. And so I don't know. For me and my channel specifically, there are certain things where I do pick and choose. And maybe your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is one of those cases. I'll guarantee I'm reviewing Daredevil and like The Last of Us and Andor, but your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we'll see. It's kind of a potentially, maybe not. Do I think Jonathan is better than Steve? No, I'm a Steve guy. I'm a Steve girly. I'll say it with my chest. Dr. Pepper Zero or Diet Coke? All day. It's not even close. Blows it out, frankly. Ooh, Abby, you got to do that. You got to get on it. Daredevil's well worth the watch. You got to catch up before, what's it called? You got to catch up before March 4th. All right. Let's keep on with the chat here. And again, I appreciate you guys for being here. Love the community we're building, and hit that like button. Helps out a lot. And Super Chat's the way to go to guarantee I get to your question, comment, concern. Okay. Where the hell was I? You know what's stuck in my head? This knockoff Bo Burnham song. It's not even a real Bo Burnham song, but it sounds like him, and no one's talking about it. I don't know. It's on TikTok right now, which is that even going to be here next week? I don't know. In the US, at least. I don't even know the words. I just know the beat, and it's like nauseating me. It's like every time my mind goes a piece, it's like dun 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 dun. I don't even know what it says. It's bad. It's bouncing around in there like triple then gum from Inside Out. Oh man, sometimes I see things in the chat. I'm like, wow, I'm that far behind, and that's what happens. You can't get to everything, and that's why Super Chat's, the way to go for priority. But like talking about India, I'm like, damn, that was 40 minutes ago? What? So anyway, I'm doing some catch up for real. Chris, remember before it was hashtag the craving? Never forget that. I'll never forget that. Oh man, that's too funny. All right. Yeah, I can't believe we're that close either. Like we're really not far away from the end of an era. 5 eps left, and I've said this a million times. I stand by it. I'm way more excited to see where these characters wrap up than who wins Sekai Taikai. Like I will say there have been multiple tournaments in this show with way more of an emotional investment from me than the Sekai Taikai at this point. The Sekai Taikai needs to be over. It needs to be done. I'm gonna die on that hill. It should have ended with the big climax being the brawl, and then there was a death of Quan, and boom, that's it. We don't need to continue this. They do have to prove me wrong there, honestly. Like I have confidence in them to land the plane with the characters, but justify us continuing this tournament after someone dies. Justify it, please. That's my thing. There's no justification for that. So we'll see. We need a trailer for that soon, if we even will. I mean, they might not even drop one, honestly. All right. Zachary in the chat says, most iconic movie you've never seen. I would probably say in terms of iconic, 2001 A Space Odyssey comes to mind. That's like a very iconic sci-fi film. That's up there. I've never seen that. And I mean, that's a pretty iconic movie. So I'll go with that one. I just don't have a desire to watch it. There are just some movies that are very popular that people have told me that may not be your thing. And I feel that I would be a little underwhelmed with it, and it just wouldn't fully land for me. I know that it's influential and very iconic, but I don't know. I don't really have a desire to watch that. Do you think Christian Bale is a top 5 actor? it's so hard to say. There's so many great actors out there, but I would say I'll look at specifically just like modern guys who get nominated for a bunch of Oscars and who are in those similar types of films as Bale. I would take Leonardo DiCaprio over Bale. I would take him. He might be, but it's what has he done recently is the real question. Now, he had a hell of a run in the 2000s and the early 2010s. As of late, he did what did he do? Ford v Ferrari was 2019. I thought he was great there. Vice was like 2018. He did Thor: Love and Thunder. Yikes. He wasn't the issue with that movie, but yikes still. Who else? What else has he done? I could be totally blanking, but Bale, great actor, but I don't know if I would say he's top 5. I don't know, because I do think this is personal and it could be off. Is Brad Pitt better? I know that's probably a hot take. You could argue Bale's top 5. I wouldn't be mad about it. What age do you think is appropriate to watch Daredevil? 14, about to be 15. I mean, Daredevil really only has like the only reason Daredevil's TVMA is for like violence and blood, like that I remember. There's no like harsh language, really, maybe the occasional F-bomb, but it really is R because of the brutal violence and the blood. And that, so I mean, I don't know, I can't speak to this just because like I don't know if like you have to pitch it to your parents or not, but if you were to pitch it to them, I would just say, yeah, I mean, it's rated R for blood and violence, which is in everything nowadays. Even like PG-13 movies really go all in on that. So I don't know. I think I would say yeah. I would say yeah. 14, about 15. I would say totally. Is that like that's like freshman in high school? I would think you should be totally fine, but again, it's not my call to make. That's just my opinion. We got a super chat. Thank you. Is Alice Creel Karen Wheeler? Let's settle this. I don't think so. No. And I remember when this arose because Karen Wheeler had a Stranger Things season 4 character poster, and everyone was like, oh, she's got to be somehow connected to Vecna. I remember that was a big theory, and I made a video about it back then. That was almost 3 years ago. Crazy how time flies again. I don't think so. No. And it just doesn't add up to me. I've heard theories where I could be convinced, but I'm going to say no. No. I'm not. I don't. And at this point, and here's the real reason. You could dig into all the theories and well, what ifs and well, maybes. Here's why I don't think it's the case. It would be too late in the game to make that reveal happen. Now, if it does happen, I'm an idiot and I'll eat crow. But I just feel like it'd be too late in the game to make that happen because we already got all the elaborate flashbacks of Henry Creel's backstory. I know they're going back to the Creel house, so they're probably going to add more depth and film more things and change up, retcon, like the Duffers have started to do with some retconning. But I just don't see this one being. It's a little too far-fetched for me. It's a little too outlandish. Now, I wouldn't be mad about it if they make it make sense, but I've started to believe that one's not going to happen. So that's my opinion on that matter. Let's see. And the thumbnail who's got the sunglasses, that is it's Daredevil. Yeah, Matt Murdock. Shoot, let's see. What do I think will be better, Squid Game season 1 or Squid Game season 3? I don't know. I would honestly say I think Squid Game season 3 because it has the chance to really end the show, where with season 1, if you watch the finale, there's about 25-30 minutes after like the final game that I wasn't crazy about where they went with the old man, and then the final moments were a little questionable. But I do think Squid Game season 3 could not only redeem the kind of ending of season 1, but it's going to be moving at 100 miles an hour from the jump. I think it could easily be the best season of the show. So yeah, Comatologist. That's a cool name. I recognize that name. I know you've been in here before. I'm going to start MAA fighting. I'm 18. We'll have fun with that, and I wish you the best and stay safe. I know that could be a brutal thing, So train hard. Watch Rocky. That's my advice for you. Watch Warrior, actually. Watch Warrior and Rocky, and have at it. Have fun. All right. Looking through the chat here. Sorry again, I'm so far behind. All right, let's see. I'm scrolling ahead a bit here because I want to catch up. Do you think The Godfather insists upon itself too much? It insists upon itself, Lois. I don't know. That's a very funny, very funny clip from Family Guy, a show I've never fully even watched. I've seen random episodes and scenes and clips on YouTube over the years, but that's one that my friends and I quote randomly, and I don't think any of us have even fully watched Family Guy. So, yeah, The Godfather insists upon itself. You got to look that up on YouTube if you haven't heard of it and you're confused. All right. Early predictions for Daredevil's future in the MCU. I think he'll be in a lot of the street level stuff. That's why I think he'll be in Spidey 4. He's going to be in Born Again. I think Born Again is going to get a season 2. I think he could very well appear in damn near Thunderbolts. Like, there's no telling, you know? So I would say he's going to be around, but he's not going to be some pivotal Captain America type character. That's not who he's supposed to be. But he'll probably be in Secret Wars. I think everyone's going to be in that movie. Everyone and their mother, they're going to go all out for that. So we'll see how he ties into it. But I mean, I don't really need him to be leading some team. I just want Daredevil. I mean, it's cool he's in the MCU, but that doesn't mean that everyone from the MCU needs to show up in Daredevil or he needs to show up in every project, because that's never how it was. Yes, there was always connectivity between phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3 movies, but for the most part, it was like post-credit scenes. Like, I mean, at the end of Incredible Hulk, in the post-credit scene, Tony Stark shows up. It's like, oh, this is a part of Iron Man. He's not in the whole movie. You know, the first time we really saw this happen with other characters from established films being side characters was probably The Winter Soldier, when we had like Nat as one of the characters in the movie, and Black Widow was there with Cap, and then like in Ragnarok, Hulk was there. But it was never like a common thing. And now, since it's post Endgame, I do think that people expect team up now, and that's never really what it was. There was just a little bit more like acknowledging events from other movies and post credit scenes that brought characters in. But I could see Daredevil getting involved with like Thunderbolts potentially. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Blake in the house. Shout out Blake with the super chat. MegaCon Orlando this year? Question mark. Lots of Cobra Kai cast. Yeah. So I really wanted to swing it this year, but it's just not going to happen. I honestly, like I had said in the last stream or one of the last videos when this came up, I was like, I'm not going to make it down there this year. And and then they announced a ton of Cobra Kai casts, and I was like, I got to find a way to go, but I'm just not going to swing it this year. It just it doesn't line up for me, which is a bummer. I want to go so bad because Mary Mauser and Tanner Buchanan are going, and they're like 2 of the Cobra Kai cast that I don't have autographs from, of like the main cast. And I have a goal to like get everyone, but my thinking on this is, you know, there will be other opportunities. Atlanta Comic-Con's in July, and what's to stop these same actors from going there? So it's going to be special, and I'm jealous of those who get to go down and meet everyone, but I'm not going to be able to swing it this year, unfortunately. So I won't be there. I wish I was. I'll be there, you know, in spirit, I guess. I'll be scrolling and looking at pictures online of it all. Let's see. Who do you think, or what do you think will be the Avengers Assemble moment of Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3? You're the best around. I think hearing that will be that moment where it's like, oh my gosh. Hearing that will be sick. And I know they're going to do it. They have to do it. So I would say that. It would be like the big, that moment where everyone's like, oh. Let's see. All right. Okay. Alrighty. Scrolling through here. I see there's just a lot of repeat questions, so I'm skipping ahead, jumping around, trying to get some new ones in the chat. All right. I have not seen Nosferatu. I have not. Dr. Pepper, cheers. Keep, watch, burn, The Batman, Die Hard, and Oppenheimer. Okay, so there's a clear keep here, and it's Die Hard. Die Hard I watch every year. It's the action movie, and it's also a Christmas movie. So there's a lot of versatility with that one. So I feel like I get the most out of keeping that to have at my disposal whenever I want to watch it. Between the other two, it's just simple. Which one's better, and which one do I think I need to experience once in my life? And it's Oppenheimer. Then I get the score as well, and then I'll burn the Batman, which sucks. But I mean, of those three, it's just my least favorite, and so that's the way of the world. Did you hear about Universal Orlando's new park, the Monster Island and the ride with Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, and the monster from the lagoon? Yeah, classic Universal monsters have their own area of the park, and I did see that. And apparently, the animatronics are out of this world. Some of the coolest ever. I don't even know. They're like projections or hyper realistic animatronics. I'd have to look more into it. But yeah, I'm excited for Epic Universe. I don't know when I'll get to go down there, but whenever I do, I will be sad. And I'll be having a hell of a time. MJ and I, we're going to have a hell of a time. Revenge of the Sith is the best looking Star Wars movie. I disagree strongly. Now, I think Revenge of the Sith is a very well done conclusion to the prequel trilogy, but visually speaking, much like the other two prequels, I think the best visuals in the prequels are the Phantom Menace because it has the most that's actually like shot on location. A lot of Revenge of the Sith, you can tell they're sitting in a room surrounded by blue walls. And if you watch the behind the scenes, it's like there will be a physical like platform they're on, and then it'll just be blue everywhere. I mean, I'm thinking of some of those planets like, no, I can't. Attack of the Clones was also bad visually, and I like the movies. Like, I have tons of nostalgia for them, but the older you get, the more noticeable to the human eye those, uses of green screen, blue screen are. It's bad, and a lot of Revenge of the Sith just does not exist. It's just a computer screen, which I don't understand. I know that was George Lucas's thing in the technology, but I don't even like the sequels, but they maybe objectively are the best looking Star Wars films. I think that might be, or the original trilogy, because of like the use of miniatures and everything. But like, think of The Last Jedi. I hate the movie, but the visuals, like Crate, the planet, beautiful. The moment where the hyperspeed destroys a ship, that's gorgeous. Like, visually, it's a great looking movie. Have I seen the Bernie Mac show? No, but I've seen clips here and there. My dad might have had it on at one point in life, but I've never actually watched it. I need to try Dr. Pepper cream soda. Goes hard. Might have to get on it. Diet Coke over coffee. I might go coffee, and I don't even drink coffee. But I could do one of those, what are they, Frappuccinos? Like a milkshake, essentially. Interstellar, Inception, Ross asks. Give me Inception. Favorite movie with Robin Williams? Give me Good Will Hunting. The final moments. Son of a bitch, she stole my line. Favorite Jim Carrey movie? Mine is Truman Show. Mine is as well. Ditto. You should make the 100 watches letterbox list, Chris. I may, but again, if I make it public, I'm like, there's pressure now. Again, I'm not going to MegaCon, unfortunately, but I really wish I was this year. I had planned to initially, but I will not be there, sadly. So that's a bummer. I've never seen Signs. Breakfast for dinner or dinner for breakfast? Breakfast for dinner all day. Breakfast for dinner is amazing. It's such a delight, especially pancakes in the picture. Oof. Joey says, favorite movie to win Best Picture for me, Schindler's List is by far the best. Favorite movie? I'd probably have to say either Gladiator, more recently Oppenheimer. You go back, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Rocky. Those are some of like favorite movies that come to mind that won Best Picture. One of those, maybe The Departed. Yeah, everyone's been telling me since they came out to watch these movies. Trevor from Film Geeks, the OG, to tell me that. And then Abby, I know you've wanted me to watch it. Jello Plays, Starcourt. Like, everyone's been like, you got to watch it. And I just haven't. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or Gladiator 2? Gladiator 2 comfortably. And I have my issues with Gladiator 2, but I would watch that 10 times before I ever watched Kingdom again anytime soon. What about Onward really grips you? I've noticed you have it at 4.5 stars. I'd love to hear your opinions. Yeah, the brotherhood aspect of the film, it really strikes a chord with me emotionally because I have an older brother. So it hits with me emotionally. I like the adventure aspects of the film, and the coming of age feel, the sense of adventure, all that just worked for me really well. Yeah, that movie's awesome to me. Big fan. I know it's underrated and most people don't care for it, but I've always defended it. Okay. Yeah, the movie watch list is crazy. How does Skeleton Crew rank with other Star Wars shows? It's better than The Acolyte. It's better than The Book of Boba Fett. It's better than, like, as a whole body of work, because The Book of Boba Fett did have some bangers with Mando and, like, Luke, but those were episodes, and the whole show you have to look at. It's probably better than Obi-Wan. I don't know if it's better than Ahsoka. Maybe it is, but it's not as good as Mando 1 or 2. It's not as good as Andor. It's not as good as Clone Wars. It's not as good as Rebels. So somewhere in the picture, somewhere in like the middle, it sounds like the whole middle of that mix. Yeah, everyone go follow Starcourt on Letterboxd. Go do it. Do it. To reference Revenge of the Sith, which everyone's been talking about. Would you ever consider watching more non-English movies and TV shows? Yeah, I would. I just, I have a long, long list, so everything's on that list, and yeah, so I'm not opposed to it at all. I love when I need to get back into Akira Kurosawa. I mean, I watched 2 or 3 of his movies back in the day and was like, yeah, this is awesome. It's just I never go to it. And they're less accessible to me. The streaming services, I feel like they're the ones I would want to watch. I'd have to do a little research on where I could watch them. What do I think will make more money? Superman or Fantastic Four? Fantastic Four. I'm betting on that because it's the end of July. It's Marvel Studios. Pedro Pascal's huge. Joseph Quinn's got a huge following. And I just think the trailer is going to really sell people. The timing has a lot to do with that. So the timing of release, that is. All right. Disney had a hot streak in the 90s. Pixar had a hot streak in the 2000s. Marvel had a hot streak in the 2010s. What do I think will happen in the 2020s? I mean, we are halfway through the 2020s. So what's had a hot streak so far? I mean, Christopher Nolan, I don't know. I feel like he's 2 for 2 with Tenet and Oppenheimer, but franchise-wise, I have to look at that. Disney had a hot streak in the 90s. So yeah, Renaissance era. Pixar, yeah, of course, the 2000s. You had Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Ratatouille, Up, Cars. Marvel had a hot streak in the 2010s, absolutely. And then what will happen in the 2020s? Not Star Wars, not Marvel right now. They haven't. You can't have to look at what they've done. They haven't had a hot streak. DC, no. I would probably say hot streak. I mean, how many movies are we talking about? Because the body of work for all of those that's listed is a lot of films. So like you could say, Dune 1 and 2 have been acclaimed, and we're going to get a third by the end of the decade, but that's 3 movies as opposed to the like 10 plus from every other studio listed here almost, right? Like 8 to 9. So what's going to have 8 to 9 movies come out this decade? I mean, is it an animated studio? I don't think DreamWorks would be the answer. Is it not Harry Potter, not Lord of the Rings, not Game of Thrones? Is it maybe, I have no clue. You might have stumped me here. But it's a fascinating question. I don't think anything has risen up yet. That's my answer. I don't think anything has risen up yet to be compared to the past decades. And I think we might just be in an era where that's the case, where it's less big franchise studio movies. It's just what's a hit that year and what isn't. Like Barbie. We're not going to have Barbie sequels anytime soon. So I can't say Barbie. I can't say, Oppenheimer was a one and done. Yeah, that's a toughie. But I like the thought. What do I think will be better, Fantastic Four, Superman? I think in terms of just movie, that's tough because it's hard to bet against James Gunn. He's always hit in the comic book genre. But, I would say, better movie could be Superman. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Fantastic Four makes more money. I think they're both going to be comparable. Yeah, go follow Starcourt on Letterboxd. Do you think they will keep the Halloween franchise going? Jamie Lee Curtis says never to never. They'll always make Halloween movies, I think, because of the name and the franchise, but I don't know if she'll continue to do them. But they'll always reboot it. It'll be like James Bond, I feel, of horror, where they just remake them every couple of years with a new Michael Myers. I don't know. I have no clue. Do I need to watch The Punisher again before Born Again? I'm going to try and do that. I don't know if it's like fully necessary, but it can't hurt. The Punisher is also only 2 seasons, so it's pretty easy to get through. But I'm going to try and do that as well as Daredevil, and all the TV is adding up, guys. That's what happens. That's what always happens. You get a big list and then you start working through it and you're like, man, I can't get through this as fast as I thought. And then boom, you get overwhelmed. But I would recommend, why not? Aaron says, what would you say is the most overhated / underrated MCU project? The most overhated MCU project to me overhated, so like got a ton of hate that wasn't really warranted. I would say like hate. I gotta think of what got hate. Hawkeye and the Falcon and Winter Soldier got a lot of hate for some reason. Like people were like, "This is trash," and I think that a lot of that stemmed from the way they handled Kingpin and Hawkeye. And then the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't know why people hate. Those are both very underrated MCU projects. In terms of movies, I think the OG Ant-Man's underrated. I also think that you could argue Iron Man 2 overhated. You could argue it. You could do it. I'm not going to argue there. The first 3 seasons are really easy to binge. Really easy to binge. It's Craven time, someone says. Concerning summer box office, I think Jurassic World Rebirth would be the best Jurassic film since the original, but it won't hit 1 billion. Like, that would be wild. So, like, it is an actual good movie, but it doesn't make 1 billion. I think Jurassic's just a guaranteed home run. That's my opinion, but we'll see. I would say the movie's going to be the best Jurassic since the first. That's my prediction. And that's not hard to do for me. I don't care for really any of the sequels that much, but I do think it will make a lot of money as well. Favorite show of all time, my favorite show of all time, Stranger Things. What's up, Chris? In a great mood. Well, there you go. Commanders won a playoff game. How about them? Wanted to ask, what's your natty prediction for 2025? Right, that's what we're talking about. No, Ohio State in the blowout. I don't really care though. Rewatched 7 at the cinema yesterday. It's great but heavy. Yeah, it's a very heavy watch. Movie that you can only watch a couple times max in your life. I've seen the movie 2 or 3 times. I think twice. And I feel so like gross after I watch it because it's so draining and this dark part of humanity is on display. It's a hard one to get through. But it is a very great movie. You know, we have to remember that. Starcourt with a great question saying, who's a young actor that will end up being an all-time great? I think Chalamet. Yeah, 100%. He's the front runner. He's the Leo of our generation in terms of just his versatility already. I would say another young actor who could be an all-time great. I'm not fully sold on Austin Butler yet. I also think he's a bit older than Timmy. I'd have to look at their ages. I don't know. But I would say a young actor could end up being great. Oh man, an all-time great. That's tough. Timothy Chalamet is such a clear answer. I would have said years ago Lucas Hedges, but I don't know what happened to him. He was in Manchester by the Sea. He got nominated the same year as Timmy for Call Me by Your Name, or like the year before, one of the years around there. But he was also in Lady Bird, and then he just like stopped. I don't know what he's doing anymore. He was so phenomenal and Oscar nominated at a young age. People were like, these are going to be like the 2 next guys, and we just haven't heard from him. So Timothy Chalamet, clear, easy answer in my opinion there. Let's see. I'm about to sneeze, I feel. Just wanted to give you all that heads up. Since Daredevil trailer dropped today, what is your most anticipated Marvel project of the year? I think I'm gonna go with Daredevil, Born Again. Over Cap 4, over the other TV shows. It's either Daredevil or Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four, but I want to say Daredevil because I'm riding the wave of that trailer right now. I'm riding the wave of that trailer, baby. All right. Well, I hope you have a great time and enjoy it. Enjoy the insane ride that it is. Will I be going to any conventions this year? I don't know. I don't have any 100% set in stone. I had a couple last year. I went to 3, I want to say. None as of now set in stone, but there's a pin in Atlanta Comic Con, which is in July. And then anything that rises up, you never know. But it's not like this year, we'll see. I've done a bunch of cons the past 3 years, 2022, 2023, 2024. I kind of went hard. I went to MegaCon twice. I went to Atlanta Comic Con three years in a row. I went to a Teen Wolf convention. I went to the Stranger Things convention. I went to Dallas. So yeah, I've been all over at conventions. So I'm kind of chilling this year, maybe. But I will go to Atlanta because it's local. I don't have to travel too far at all, down the street pretty much. And then, yeah, I don't know about any other cons. Maybe some ones could pop up though. All right. Do I think John and Carmen will? I think we'll see their full-on wedding by the end of the season. That's my prediction. I think they will be married by the final episode. That could be the big celebration. They get married, then we could see like the baby being born. That's all going to definitely have to happen in season 6, part 3, in my opinion. One movie you watched at home that you would always want to watch on a big screen. Mine is Interstellar. I would probably say, I mean, honestly, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame would be awesome to just see on the biggest screen possible every time. That's not realistic, but that would be great. Still haven't seen Wild Robot. I know it's not what you want to hear, but that's the world we live in. Most anticipated movies of 2025. Give me the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie with Leo. Give me Fantastic Four. Give me Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, baby. How do I store my Blu-rays? I've got them all on just a shelf. I don't have any like slipcovers or anything on them, like plastic cases I'm talking about. I just have them out. I dust them occasionally. I need to dust them more. Let's see. Will you by any chance do reaction videos to Stranger Things season 5 on YouTube? I'm planning to probably do this, yeah, for every episode. I think that's the move. Yeah. Opinions on Taylor Swift. I would consider myself a Swiftie, not like a hardcore know everything about her and every one of her songs, but I would say like I don't know if I would say I'm like even a hardcore Swiftie. I mean, I would just say I like her music. I've seen her in person. That's what I'd say. I would say I am a Swiftie, but I'm not like meaning what I mean by that is definition. I quite like her music. I'll sing along in the car. I have a Taylor Swift hoodie, I believe, somewhere, or it's my girlfriend's that I kind of stole. But I am not like some diehard fanatic, There's a difference. Best mystery TV show? Mystery TV show. I'm blanking on that right now. I will say Wednesday season 1 had mystery vibes. Whiplash or Almost Famous? Whiplash, but Almost Famous, it inspired me greatly when I first watched it. I need to own it on Blu-ray. But Whiplash it's been around my life longer, and it's like one of those top 10 movies for me, Gotta go with that one. Hey, bud, love from India. Well, that's crazy. Thank you for watching. I don't know what time it is over there, but thank you for being here. I'm going off topic, but do you think that Mike Wheeler will have his aura back like season 1? I hope so, and I kind of think so, honestly. I rewatched the show last year, and I liked Mike a lot more. Maybe it's because I just met Finn Wolfhard at MegaCon, but something about Mike, he's a little more likable each time you go back and revisit the show, and he's a bit more understood. And so, you know what? I kind of think maybe he will. He might have his aura back. Rank every phase from best to worst, including phase 5. See, I didn't even know we were in phase 5, I don't think. I mean, phase 3 is by far the best phase. It has Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Homecoming, Guardians 2. Phase 3 is number 1. And then I would probably say phase 2. You had Guardians, Winter Soldier, and that's kind of carries a bunch of weight. Then I'd probably go phase 1 had Iron Man and Avengers, and then phase 4 just had a lot of bad projects for the first time. So I'd probably do that. And then I don't even know, what are we in? Are we in phase 5? Are we about to be in phase 6? Like, there's no real continuity to the phases, meaning there's no like clear beginning and end to a phase. And it used to feel like that was the case. I'm planning on going, assuming they get a solid Walking Dead lineup. Yeah, I should be there. Like, I will, even if they don't have any guests I really like, I'm probably going to go because Adam's art box is going to be there, and I will get more of that man's art. So I'll go for like a day, worst case scenario. It's in the summer. It's not far from me. I will likely make an appearance there. It's just, I hope I can also meet some celebs there too. They usually get a couple good ones. They had Matt Murdock. They had Charlie Cox, John Bernthal. This past year, they had Cobra Kai folks. So people are going to show up. It's Atlanta. They film a lot of stuff here. People are going to show up. Do I think James Cameron will ever make another non-Avatar movie? No. Talked about this with Starcourt yesterday. I don't think that I think he's riding Avatar out. He's going to do 3 or 4 more, and that will overshadow, and this is my opinion, I think James Cameron will always be remembered as the Avatar guy, and it will overshadow his legacy. Because if you look at other big directors right now, Nolan, Spielberg, these guys who've been in it longer. I mean, Spielberg, frankly, his career is an anomaly. He's been doing this thing since the 70s, and he's still around getting nominated for Oscars. He's shown he's the most versatile director of all time, I'd say. He's done big blockbuster adventure films like Indiana Jones. He's done E.T., but then he's also made the horror adventure film in Jaws. But he also won Oscars for Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. And then he's done West Side Story, a musical. Like, this man can do it all. James Cameron made, Aliens, the Terminator movies, and a couple other films, right? True Lies, I think The Abyss. His life's been devoted this entire century essentially to Avatar. So people are just going to remember him for that. I know that, if you really think about it, Ridley Scott started Alien, that series. And then I know that Terminator's kind of his baby, but he hasn't really done Terminator forever. So he is just going to be the Avatar guy when it's all said and done. And he'll have had 5 Avatar films. Is that equal? How many non-Avatar films will he have had? I think he did Terminator 1 and 2 only, right? And then he did Aliens, True Lies, The Abyss, and then maybe a couple other movies that I'm not remembering or haven't seen. But Avatar's gonna carry a lot more weight than everything else by the end of it. And I feel like it's a shame and it's a disservice. That's how I feel. Is Joaquin a top 10 actor all time? I don't know. I would not say he's top 10 all time. I wouldn't, but he's obviously great. But I'm thinking of guys that are better than Joaquin right now. I still think Leo's better than Joaquin. Jack Nicholson's better than Joaquin. Daniel Day-Lewis is probably better than Joaquin. I would say Denzel's better than Joaquin. The list, Joaquin's great, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's top 10 all time. What I think will be the biggest box office bomb for 2025, I would argue maybe Elio. We talked about it earlier in the stream. Depending on word of mouth, that movie could either get buried in the summer movie season or not. Elio could bomb. I could see Snow White being a big bomb. I could also see Captain America Brave New World, based on the budget, being a bomb. Glenn Powell, valid. Valid pick, yeah, honestly. I would say in terms of like actress, because we haven't talked about that, I would say Jenna Ortega is just going to continue to skyrocket in fame. She's Scream 5 and 6, Wednesday obviously kind of put her really on the map. I think she's going to be, she's going to continue to just pick better projects. I think she'll be like a huge star for a while. So Jenna Ortega is also a young actress, I should say, who I think is just going to be huge for a while. What Succession character are you the most like? I hope none of them. That's my answer. They're all awful people, but it's just fun to watch awful people do things and try and outwit one another and get out of horrible situations. No one's a good person in Breaking Bad, really, but you're just so wrapped up in all the drama, Let's see. Am I into the grindhouse genre? I don't know. Is that like Tarantino's grindhouse film? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever really ventured into that. I know that him and Robert Rodriguez, was it like Death Proof, and one of Robert Rodriguez's film was like a grindhouse double feature. I'm not really sure, honestly, but interesting question. Am I going to make any Oscar videos? Maybe not. It's hard to say. Sometimes I get the Oscar bug, sometimes I don't. We'll have to see how I feel this year. PTA films don't miss. Yeah, the man, he has a couple that don't land for me fully, but he's like his 90s stuff especially is great. What's your favorite scene from No Country for Old Men? It's my favorite scene it's early on in the film. It's when Llewellyn is like on the run and he's being chased down, and it's like nighttime, but it's still so well lit, and he has to like run over the hill and jump in the river when the dog's coming after him. That's the most intense scene to me, which is not probably a popular pick, but that's one I've always been drawn to. Least anticipated. The movie I'm the least excited for, it might be Avatar 3. I know I'm going to have to probably end up watching it just because it'll be the movie, right? But I'm not looking forward to it remotely. Last year, Atlanta Comic-Con had Norman Reedus, Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, they've got big names. They have big names now. Robert Englund, you're right. I should have met him. I will meet him if he goes back for Stranger Things specifically. But I hope they get some Stranger Things names, some Cobra Kai names, maybe someone who's big that hasn't done a lot of cons that I like. David Harbour, please. I'd be there. We'll have to see. But anyway, we'll take a couple more questions here and wrap this thing up. Super chat it in if you got a burning question that you're trying to ask before the stream ends. But obviously hit that like button, and we'll go again, take a couple more questions here before I wrap it up. A couple more. All right. Quite a delicious Dr. Pepper Zero that was. and I'm out now. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. Which Stranger Things character do you mostly relate to? I feel honestly it's weird, but I do think Steve. No, I don't think I was a jerk back in the day, but I mean that in a sense of kind of, uh played sports in high school and hung out with. I mean, I played lacrosse, so there was an interesting group of people around me oftentimes that I didn't associate with, but they were there, and so like the Tommy H's of the world, right? And then I started dating Cam, and I just always stayed true to who I was, but I feel like some of the best parts of myself were brought out by her. So I don't know, Steve, and I don't know. I'm getting all weird and mushy now, so I would say Steve. I feel a deep connection to that character. I love him. He's the man. What's the most overrated MCU Disney Plus show? Overrated, Moon Knight, in my opinion. That one, when it came out, people were losing their minds, and I've always thought it's wildly overrated. I was not satisfied with the ending. The finale itself was weak, and it should have been either a movie or 10 eps, because 6 was not enough. I forget Ethan Hawke was in that, by the way. I'm really looking forward to I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, isn't Madeline and Klein in that, I think, of OBX fame? Last movie that made you cry. Ooh, that's a good question, man. Let's look, like, actually cry, because like there are movies that make me like tear up where I'm like, oh wow, like I feel kind of choked up right now. But then there are some movies that I'll like genuinely cry watching. I'm looking through the chat or my Letterboxd diary, and I'll tell you that the last movie I cried in, like truly cried, was probably. It honestly could have been. Like there's a chance that it was the Music by John Williams documentary, which was so powerful. I teared up watching that. Anytime I cry, it has to involve a score. So that might have done it for me. We Live in Time was sad, but I didn't like full on cry. It's rare for that to happen, for me. But I know Onward makes me cry, like for real. Forrest Gump makes me cry for real. Potentially, yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question, though, man. I definitely got emotional rewatching Gladiator this time around. It's such a beautiful film. I love me some Gladiator. Are you going to MegaCon? I got asked this earlier, but if you weren't here, that's okay. I am not going this year. I usually have gone the past 2 years, but I'm not going to be able to swing it this year, unfortunately. Keep, watch, burn Daredevil, Punisher, Loki. I will burn Loki. I will keep Daredevil and watch the Punisher. Those go hand in hand, though. Yeah, it's such a bummer, man. I really, really wish I got to meet him. I hope he does another one, because if I never get to meet David Harbour, I will be sick. What's your favorite Paul Dano performance? Ooh, people could say There Will Be Blood. You could say Prisoners. You could say the underrated Night and Day. You could say the Riddler and the Batman. I like his performances as the Riddler. Moon Knight or Agatha? I think Agatha, which is crazy to some probably, but Agatha ended better. Agatha had more memorable moments. Am I going, or I know you watched and liked the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. That being said, are you excited for live action? I saw the trailer for it today in theaters when I saw Last Crusade, and I was like, this is. I worry it's playing into the original too much. Like, it uses the same score. It's got some iconic shots and imagery, but is that enough? Was the movie going to stand on its own, or is it going to be a shot-for-shot remake? And I kind of worry. We'll take a couple more. I have not seen this movie. I cried watching the Christopher Reeves documentary. I've heard that one's real emotional. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, that one got me teared up for sure when I rewatched it. It's just a beautiful film. And I'll end the stream with this one right here from Main Gamer. Are there any movies you're hyped for this year that aren't big tentpole movies? Yes, I do believe that PTA movie isn't like a huge tentpole film with Leo, but I'd have to look at the list, because there are some on here that aren't like huge popular movies. Let's see. But the thing about these movies is a lot of them pop up. Like, we don't even know they're going to come out this year. They're just going to pop up in like 11 months and come out and be like, oh, shoot, this movie looks awesome. So yeah, I would say that the one that comes to mind is that Paul Thomas Anderson film. But I'm sure the real answer to this question is something we won't really know about until later this year. So it's kind of hard to say. Iron Claw is a good one that got me to cry. But yeah, I think that's a good one to end the stream on. So that'll do it for this live Q&A with about an hour and a half. Thank you guys so much if you tuned in live. If you watched it on the replay, of course, hit that like button if you're here live right now and you haven't already. And if you're on the replay, hit that like button. It helps out tremendously. If you sent a super chat, thank you so much. It means the world. If you watched live or on the replay, thank you. I look forward to this. I'm probably going to get back to weekly live streams. I'm digging it so far. We're having a great start to the year with the lives. But that does it. Check out my Blu-ray collection video if you haven't already. And I also did a Daredevil trailer reaction. Go watch my Skeleton Crew review, please. If you haven't watched it, go give it a like. You don't even have to watch the video. Just go give it a like. I know Skeleton Crew is not for everyone, but it means a lot of you guys. Just go click that video, give it a like. It helps out a lot. But that does it for this live Q&A. It's 8 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. Much love to every single one of you. Have a great rest of your week. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.